alt season win totals, probably a market that is mispriced. Like the notion that books can accurately price it is probably a fallacy. But we will say this, headed into this year, books have adjusted, right? They're not giving us quite as much bang for our buck on some of these.
Yeah, feels like it's been coming the past couple years. Yeah,
but I found some that I like. And a lot of this has to do, if you missed the show yesterday, I go right back to the NFC North. Bears under 6.5 at plus 200. Again, defense allowed, this is as bad as their season was, they allowed the second lowest red zone touchdown percentage and the ninth lowest third down percentage allowed versus expected. And they benefited from the ninth best injury luck and finished number one in defensive fumble recovery percentage at a historic 72% rate. So everything went their way in high leverage situations and they still stunk. And by the way, the offensive line replacements aren't really good pass blockers. And Caleb Williams, even when he didn't have pressure, had a 27% pressure to sack ratio, third highest in the league last year. So even with a clean pocket, by the way, Williams generated the second lowest EPA in the NFL. So yes, do I think that the Bears have a scenario? I could go through the schedule and do the whole win-loss thing. Under 6.5 plus 200, sorry, Chicago. That's one of my favorite alt-season win totals.
There's also just, like, I don't know if we said this specifically yesterday or not, but it's kind of like my Seahawks to finish last in the NFC West bet. You know, it doesn't mean I think they're an awful team. Like, I don't know. No. The Bears could get better this year and still be the worst team in the NFC North.
I probably should have said at the beginning, what you're looking for with these are a team to the under. We'll call it a tail, right? Either to the good or to the bad.
Yeah.
Where you can see it just a scenario, right? Every team has a spectrum where things break their way and things don't break their way, all the things we're talking about luck-wise. And I do believe the Bears have a tail that could go terribly wrong for them, as I do for their division rival Vikings. Under 7.5 is at plus 225, but under 6.5 is 3-1, Kelley. Vikings, 14-3 last year. You know the overperformance.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you trust Brian Flores to once again step that defense up to the second-ranked EPA in all of football. I don't. Remember, even though they won 14 games, they ranked 9th in the NFL in point differential. They were 9-1 in one-score games. They led the league in overall turnovers forced. Right, so much went their way. They also drew the most false start penalties from the opposing teams and committed and the opponents committed the most defensive holding penalties in the NFL. And Justin Jefferson has something to do with that for sure. But this year, following a Week 6 bye, they face Philly, the Chargers, Detroit, Baltimore, Chicago, and Green Bay. Vikings light in the cornerback room. No more Stephon Gilmore. No more Shaq Griffin. They got instead Isaiah Rodgers and Jeff Okudah. And I'm sorry, I don't know if J.J. McCarthy's any good at all. I just don't. And I know people think, oh, Kevin O'Connell will coach him up. He did with Sam Darnold. Yeah, but Sam Darnold's played in the league. So I don't know. I just think there's a tail where I would go all-season win total under on the Vikings.
I think they're a team that applies for I did this with one we'll get to, but I think they're a team that you could sell me on an alt under or an alt over with this team because I have no idea how good McCarthy is.
It's funny, Cleve's alt was to the over.
Yeah.
I'm oppo him on that. I go alt to the under on the Vikings.
And then here's one we share.
We share this?
On the exact same number.
Indianapolis Colts under 5.5 at plus 200. I just think they're mediocre across the board.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this guy, Daniel Jones, that they've named the starter. But, yeah.
So Gil, I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to bet it because I hope that at some point they wake up and say, we got to put Anthony Richardson in.
Daniel Jones.
And then the sale's over.
31st out of 34 qualified quarterbacks in EPA last year.
Dude.
All right, do you think you can vomit out your favorite alt season win totals before you blow?
I'm in with you on the Colts under. I do like that one. I can't bet it though, Gil, because after Daniel Jones starts 1-5, they're going to make the right decision and go back to Anthony Richardson, and then he might be live for MVP, and you're going to have to bet every alt over on the planet. That's what I really believe. Look, Panthers. I think I'm going to bet this one. I am going to bet under 6.5 today. And we've been talking about it throughout the show, but this is what I've been considering for a couple weeks now. The defense is so bad. I'm not the biggest Bryce Young believer. I think Falcons and Bucks are a challenge at the top. The only thing that's kind of kept me away is the Saints being bad in division as well. But I like their under 6.5. And if you want to get a little crazy, I think 4.5 at plus 370 is in play with this team. Chargers under 7.5. I don't hate the Chargers. This is a little bit. I'm high on the Broncos, though. Like you, I don't think the Chiefs are going anywhere. I'm not betting them to win the division, but I don't think they're going anywhere as far as the top of that division looks. I'm interested to see what this Raiders squad has. Meanwhile, the Chargers, I think, had an awful offseason. I think there's a Herbert Harbaugh situation going on where it's Harbaugh trying to make the team too much in his own vision and not building around a quality quarterback because they didn't really do anything to give him more weapons. Rashawn Slater goes down. I think that's absolutely huge. Seahawks, look, I bet them to finish last in the division, so this is kind of a correlated play to that. If I think they're going to finish last in the NFC West, under on their win totals, under on an alt, I think it's fair to look at. And then you're talking about the tails, right? Dolphins over and under. I think Dinzig was the first to say it like in the spring. He's backed off it. I've backed off the Dolphins over love too. Look, it's not a bet I'm actually going to make.
You have left yourself quite a middle.
The training camp has just been a disaster. That's why I'm not going to end up on the over. But I just wanted to note these because I believe one of these still hits with this team. Either it is people stay healthy and this is a team that is sniffing around the playoffs, or it's a complete disaster. Mike McDaniel gets fired in the first 6 weeks, and this team finishes with like 4 wins.
You've left yourself a 5.5 to 9.5 middle on there to get beat on both ends.
I just wanted to point out that I think one of those hits. Obviously, both of them can.
Thanks for watching, but don't let the betting insights end here. If you want an extra edge this football season, you can get a month of VSiN Pro right now absolutely free. That means access to our betting insights, analysis, and tools like our betting splits at zero cost to you. Click the link in the description to sign up.